Hello and welcome back to my 61 subscribers and my mother. I don't know what I've titled this video yet, but I have a feeling it's something pretentious, like K-pop 2020 year in review. But what this is in reality is just me gushing about my top 10 favorite K-pop albums of 2020. And then maybe talking about some of the most absurd scandals of the year. So stick around if you're interested in that. We're gonna go ahead and dive right in. So these are gonna be the top 10 in descending order. I have a feeling it's gonna take me a while to get through these, so I'm not gonna give a huge intro. I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right in. Number 10 on my list of top 10 favorite K-pop albums of the year 2020 is not technically K-pop, and also not an album. But I wanted to hype it a little bit because it is, without a doubt, my favorite song of this year. The group is called Rose Quartz and the song is called Blaze, and Blaze 100% reminds me of 2009 Paramore, and I am living for it, vibing with it so much. I cannot wait for an entire studio album. Also, one of my goals for 2021 is kind of to expand beyond just listening to idol groups and kind of expand into K-bands and solo artists, and then eventually into international music that maybe isn't Korean music. I feel like a good way to start is going to be with Rose Quartz at the beginning of 2021. I'm usually not one of those people who's like, stream, but go stream the song. I'm gonna link it in the description. Go stream it. It is so good. Number 9 on the list, Map of the Soul 7, BTS. This album was actually a weird one for me because it has not only some of my favorite BTS songs, but some of my favorite songs, period. Jamais Vu may be my favorite song, period, of all genres. But it also has my least favorite song in all creation. And if you've seen my Life Goes On video, you know which song I'm talking about. I'm not going to put it on blast here because I'm not here to bash anybody's favorite song, and if your favorite song is this, I'm not going to sit here and just talk about how much I dislike it, but there is one song on this album that I don't even skip it when it comes on my playlist. I have completely deleted it from the playlist. But the other 19 songs on the album are fantastic, and there were tons of weird and cool collaborations. I think Troye Sivan, Ed Sheeran, Sia, and Halsey all collaborated on this album. The album spans so many different subgenres, which is easy to do when you pack 75 minutes of music into an album. I don't know, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, even if the album's not number 1 on my list of favorite albums anymore, it's always gonna have a special place in my heart because it was my foray into K-pop. So, number 8 is Pentagon's album that came out. Was it a mini album? Was it a re-release? I don't really know what it was. And honestly, I get very confused when it comes to K-pop releases. Repackages, re-releases, extended plays, mini albums, regular albums.
What on earth is a comeback?
I'm still very new. It's all very confusing for me. Nevertheless, number 8 is Pentagon's album, and I don't even know what to call it. Because I thought that the album was called Daisy. It says Daisy on the album. However, when you Google it, the name that pops up is WE:TH. What is Weave? I honestly didn't really want to get into Pentagon because the only thing that I knew about Pentagon before coming into the whole K-pop thing is that they kicked out Edon for dating. Press pause on what we're actually talking about because I need an explanation here. Listen, I'm new to K-pop. I don't always understand everything. But they kicked Edon from the group because he was caught up in a dating scandal, and I don't understand dating scandals. I get it that it's in their contract that they're not supposed to date, but in my head I assume that the worst thing that would happen if an idol was caught dating is a slap on the wrist. I never thought that they would lose their whole career over it. I don't get it. If one of my favorite idols came out tomorrow and was this is a person I love. If Kim Namjoon came out tomorrow with his pack of 5 children and his wife and said, "These are my children and wife," I would be over the moon and so happy that that person is happy. Is that just me? I don't get it. Hello, it's editing me, here to give a quick little TLDR on the last 5 minutes of this video because I spent that time like dancing around the point that I was trying to make without ever actually getting to it. So, all of that was to say that when I first got into K-pop, I made the conscious decision to not support Pentagon because I wasn't interested in supporting a group that was willing to jettison a member for something as asinine as having a girlfriend. Um But I've since learned that Dawn is now like thriving at a new label. Pentagon is thriving, so now I feel a lot better about supporting Pentagon. That was what I was trying to say with all of that. So now that we've got that out of the way, now that we've got that established, let's move on with the video. Thank you. Okay. Now that I've got that off my chest, I loved this mini album. Like, highlights from the album, Beautiful Nostalgia, and immediately after it, my second and third favorites were Nostalgia and I'm Here. Every song on the album was good. Like, there's not one that I would skip, but I get, like, actively excited when these three come on the shuffle. Number 7 is from a group that I don't hear talked about literally ever. Like, me and one other person I know listens to this group. I don't understand because I think that they are one of the best, well-rounded groups, the sharpest choreography, and the best songs in the business. And I'm told that they're just more popular in Latin America than they are in, like, the United States. And that's why I don't hear a lot about them, but I follow Latinx fans. And I don't see them talking about it either. Someone explain to me why no one is talking about A.C.E. Y'all are sleeping on this group. They're so good. I'm not a person who's like huge into biases, but I've got to be honest. My alt bias is in this group.
Stand down until the day I die, okay?
The Butterfly Fantasy. Another fantastic album that I don't hear anyone talking about. And honestly, I was confused when I was looking online. Please elaborate in the comments because I was having so much trouble finding the answer to this on Google. I think that this album that I'm talking about may have been a re-release. Like, this album may not have come out in 2020. Comment down below if that's the case, if this came out in like 2018 or 2019 and I'm just like way behind on the times. But yeah, Favorite Boys absolutely slaps. By the way, I have a reaction video that I'm editing right now where I actually react to the music video for Favorite Boys. So if I have that done by the time I post this video, I'm gonna link it right here. Number 6 on my list of favorite albums of 2020, Mazda X Fantasia X. I've heard people pronounce it both ways, Fantasia X and Fantasia X, because in the song they call it Fantasia, but it's spelled Fantasia. Also, my little Disney heart says Fantasia, so I'm gonna call it Fantasia X until somebody corrects me. Mazda X is my favorite group, like, hands down. The only reason they're not higher up on the list is that, you know, sometimes there's a miss. It's not always just right on the money every single song. But let me tell you, their music video game, on point. Like, they have got the best music videos in the business. My prediction for 2021 is that they're gonna chart in the United States. They haven't yet, ever. I just have this feeling that either Monsta X or Stray Kids in 2021 are gonna chart like top 10 in the US. Like, I'm putting it out into the universe. I'm willing it to happen. Their music is some of my favorite music, like, of all time. Hands down, period. No questions asked. On to the next. Number 5 on my list is an album that I'm pretty sure was everyone's favorite mixtape of the year. D2. I didn't really start getting into K-pop until like a month after D2 was released. And the hype was still really big around it then. Like, usually the hype for an album dies down after, like, a week or two. People were still everywhere being like, stream! It's great!
Day
Such a good album. Every song was a hit. And I know that some people don't consider mixtapes K-pop, but, like, the guys in an idol group, I'm gonna count it as K-pop. Number 4, and I know that a lot of people aren't gonna agree with me on this, but I don't care. It's my list, okay? Number 4, the album. Blackpink. I love this album. It is single-handedly dragging me through my seasonal depression. There is not one song on this album that I don't love, and I am including Ice Cream. Fight me. Honestly, it's kind of funny because, like, my relationship with Blackpink's music is long and storied. It started back like 2 or 3 years ago when, honest to God, I'm not even joking, one of the Try Guys posted a fan cam with just in all capital letters, Blackpink. And I was like, what is this? And I have loved them ever since. I don't really love stan culture. Oh, this is my alt group. I'll fight you. But you know what? I love Blackpink. They're my favorite girl group. They have been my favorite girl group since before I even knew what K-pop was. And y'all hate on them so much. They get hate just for breathing, and it bugs me so much. Like, I honestly don't know what would make people happy when it comes to Blackpink because they are hated on for absolutely everything. I don't even remember where I was reading it. I remember reading an article online about how rude and dismissive Rosé was in an airport. You know who else is rude and dismissive in an airport? Everyone! No one likes being in an airport. Like, why are we specifically hating on these people? Because they're like famous? I don't know. It bugs me. Like, there are not many groups that I'm willing to like fight for and argue over. I will go to battle for Blackpink any day of the week because they don't deserve 90% of the crap that they get. They just get it because they're girls and they're popular. Don't come for me, please. Number 3, Stray Kids. I gotta be honest, I think that their last album deserved a Grammy nod. God's Menu has been slept on in a way that I cannot even describe. If somebody were to ask me, like, what song would you recommend I listen to in order to get the vibe of the whole group, God's Menu would be that song. And it has gotten so few accolades, so little recognition, and I'm like, why?
Why?
Even if the rest of the album was bad, which it wasn't, the whole album was good, but even if the whole album was bad, I would have bought that album just to have God's Menu in my collection, because that song is one of the best songs, not of this year, but like, in like my musical knowledge. Number 2, Neozone, NCT 127. I am a natural contrarian when it comes to music tastes, with the one exception being BTS, which is beside the point. And I knew, going into K-pop, that lots of people, many people, a majority of K-pop fans, loved NCT. So naturally, I was like,
That doesn't sound like something for me.
which was stupid of me, because people like them for good reason. They are fantastic. Their members are utterly adorable, next to A.C.E, who has the best choreography in the business. NCT, specifically 127, is right on up there. Very, very spot on, very good. Getting back to the contrarian thing, I tend to shy away from like title tracks because like I don't want to sleep on the great B-sides, you know? There are fantastic B-sides on those albums too, and like I don't want to miss out on those, you know? I can hear if I can hear Kick It on the radio, why wouldn't I be listening to something else when I'm at home? That said, Kick It and Dream Come True were 2 of my favorite A-sides of this year. Finally, number 1 on my list, and I am guessing that some of you may have been able to guess it already. I just reviewed the album like 3 days ago. It's Enhypen. Border Day 1 is a flawless album. There's not one thing I would change, not one note out of place, and they had a stellar debut. If you look back on a lot of other groups, their first like 6 months, maybe a year, where they're like trying to find form, they're a little bit cringy. But this was one of the cleanest, one of the most enjoyable, all the while being one of the most intriguing debuts. This is the best debut that I've ever encountered up to this point. Like, there's not one thing in any regard I would change, and their little members are so precious. They're so good. I desperately, desperately want like a 12 to 14 track album from them because their initial release was very short. I think it was, what was it, like 5 or 6 songs? It was really short. So I want to see something full length from them. I want to see where like their storyline goes within their music videos. Because I thought my friend who told me that they were 2013 BTS but vampires was joking, but no, it's literally part of like their plot that they are vampires. I want to know more. My little 12-year-old Twilight heart is pitter-pattering so hard right now. I am so excited to see what comes from that group in a way that I honestly can't say that I am about any, like, even the other groups that I love, I can't say, like, even the other groups that I just love, like, if they went away tomorrow and just left the discography that they have, I would be perfectly content with that. But with Enhypen, like, I need to know what's next. I am so just intrigued. Oh yeah, those were my top 10. This year's been crazy, man. Like, I realize that this is like my first year being aware of like the K-pop sphere, but are all years as dramatic as this one? Like, we rang in we rang in the new year of 2020 eviscerating EXO Chen because he went and got married. This is how you know it's bad. I was not a K-pop stan until August. The EXO Chen news made it to my newsfeed in January. Like, that's how big of a deal that was in, like, the K-pop community. It hit mainstream news. Because this man decided to do the most mundane thing a human can do. He was like, I'm gonna get married and start a family. And the fandoms went ballistic. I said it before, I'll say it again. I don't understand. When people were coming for him, they weren't just coming for him, they were coming for his bandmates and anybody who's ever been within, like, a stone throw's distance of EXO. Like, people were eviscerated. Just entire swaths of the K-pop community because this one man got married. I like his group's music. I am happy that he's happy, and I've got to be honest, his kid is very cute. But why do, like, people care so deeply that these people are in relationships or not? You know, like, that was the start of 2020. That's not even to mention the whole thing with, like, Mina and Jimin, and the whole thing with, like, Woojin and Stray Kids. In terms of, like, scandal, I feel like this year is unparalleled. Like, I continuously say, I have been a K-pop fan for less than a year, but it appears to me that there's a lot going on. And then we got into, like, the end of the year, where just, like, the most absurd shit was happening all the time. Like, do you all not remember when TXT went on Fox News to promote their new music? And the anchor was like, do you know anything about these TikTok K-pop kids who are buying tickets to Trump rallies?
What?
And then, like, a month later, NCT and Treasure got so bored at the Mama Awards that they left completely and commandeered a McDonald's. Like, in what world? And I would personally like to shake the hand of the big hit intern who was like, you know what would be hilarious? In the response to hashtag big hit close your gyms, we're gonna post a minute-long Namjoon thirst trap on YouTube. In what world? What timeline are we living in? Is it always like this? Because I have been, like, living for the crackhead nature of the last, like, 3 months. That was wild. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was chaotic, to say the least, but if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more content like this in the new year. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!